Welcome to another episode of Dread Captures, where we take you on a journey through the wilds of the woods and showcase footage of our favorite wild animals. In this episode, we'll take an in-depth look at a recent Bigfoot photo, see video of the rarely talked about Manigishi, a boa constrictor on attack, and a viewer submission of a rare mountain lion hybrid. You won't believe your eyes when you see this one. But don't take our word for it. Sit back and let's get into the captures. No matter how tough and resilient animals are, every now and then, nature throws things at them that they just can't figure out by themselves. As we saw in an earlier video, sometimes animals just need a loving hand. In this clip from Michigan in 2019, Mark Johnson was out hunting with his dog when he spotted two bucks entangled with each other. Being an avid hunter and outdoorsman, Mark didn't think much of it. Of course, he thought it was cool, but he had seen bucks battling like this before. He was, however, impressed at how long they had been at it, how long they were fighting, and that's when he figured it out. They were stuck together. Mark knew he needed to help out, because what happens in these situations is that one, but most likely both deer die from exhaustion or starvation, and or coyotes move in for a kill. Knowing all that, Mark decided to call some of his buddies and told them what was going on. After the guys got a game plan, they grabbed some rope and a chainsaw used for cutting limbs and set out to free the bucks. They eventually found them wrestling near the tree line and tried to free them there, but the bucks became startled and pushed further into the woods. The deer eventually slid down an embankment and toppled into a little stream. With their necks twisted, this was a less than ideal situation. One or both bucks could have drowned. While the deer are laying there thrashing in the shallow water, the quick-thinking man took his shot and freed the bucks by slicing one of the antlers. Man, that guy was like a surgeon with that thing. In and out, real quick. Both deer quickly stand up and tromp through the water in the other direction. I'm sure they were grateful for the hand they were lent. Coyote and deer are mortal enemies. There's really no other way to explain it. Two creatures thrown into the animal kingdom just trying to survive. Unfortunately for one of them, they are the prey. Drone footage from a professional fishing charter captain specializing in fishing the flats of South Carolina captured this amazing standoff and battle between a single deer and a single coyote. As the drone zooms in from overhead, you can see the coyote dragging the deer out of the shallow water pool, but she's able to escape and gets back to the water. Now, I would traditionally say that the deer has an advantage here because they are much stronger swimmers than coyotes. However, the water is not deep enough for the deer to have any real advantage. The coyote is still able to use its strong legs, while the deer's hooves are likely sinking into the soft marsh mud. This goes on for a few more minutes before the coyote gets and keeps the advantage. The rest of the video gets pretty gnarly, but to be conscious of some viewers, I'll link the full video in the description below. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is considered to be the most popular and well-known cryptid. Bigfoot is often described as a large, ape-like creature that is said to inhabit forests, mainly in the Pacific Northwest region of North America. He is said to be bipedal, standing at around 7 to 10 feet tall and weighing around 500 to 1,000 pounds. There have been many reported sightings of the creature. But this next trailcam capture is a pretty convincing one. A hunting guide named Craig Salk, who owns 80 acres of land in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, has put up trail cameras on various parts of his property. He just loves to track the game that is moving through the woods. Craig caught a figure in the background of one of his trail cameras, and it's either a human or a Bigfoot. Now, Craig says no one should be in these woods without his permission, but we all know how that goes. As the video plays, you can see the deer in the foreground is the one that triggered the camera to snap the pictures. But she's not what we're interested in. The mystery lies in the background. The trail cam took 3 pictures, but only one of them caught a bipedal figure in the background. Could this be a human? Sure. But what's he doing? Why isn't the deer afraid of him? Or these pictures could tell a story, and the story could be that there is a creature following this deer, and just happened to get caught in one of the pictures. Like I said, the camera snapped 3 pictures. The figure was caught in the second one. I feel like if that was a human, he or she would have likely been seen in all 3 photos. A Bigfoot, on the other hand, might be keen to stay out of sight. Craig shared the photos to social media out of curiosity, and the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization found the photo convincing enough to travel to Michigan. As the 4 members of the BFRO head to Craig's property, located right on the border of Wisconsin and Michigan, it is the exact type of dense forest a creature would inhabit. The foursome would spend a few nights and days on Craig's property. They were performing reenactments and searching for any reasonable explanation to verify or debunk this photo. Ultimately, the verdict was inconclusive. They could neither confirm nor deny what was in the photo. Having watched a decent amount of footage on this, the thing that strikes me is that Craig seems very level-headed and credible. He's not looking for notoriety or an award for finding Bigfoot. He's just a hunter who has pictures that he can't explain. So, what do you guys think? The photo definitely gets my wheels turning. Did Craig capture a photo of Bigfoot on his property? Or is he just the victim of a well-orchestrated hoax? I'll let you guys decide for yourselves. Honestly, I'm not really sure what to say about this one here. At first glance, it looks like a creature hugging a tree for sure. You can see the semblance of arms wrapped around the tree and a head buried in the arms. But the more I look, the less I'm sure this is an actual creature. The original uploader said that this was supposed to be a baby Sasquatch. You be the judge. In September of 2022, a small town was notified that there was a young deer running around with an arrow stuck in itself. The deer was first spotted on a farmer's trail cam, and the farmer couldn't believe his eyes. Sure enough, someone had shot and hit the deer with an arrow, but the deer never fell. The trail camera footage was taken days before, so the deer was long gone. As word spread, people were looking for the deer in hopes of helping out. One day after work, a man pulled in his driveway. Surprisingly, he saw a young deer next to his house. He thought, well, this is strange, but then quickly noticed the arrow protruding from his side. The man was unaware that this deer had been the topic of the town conversation, but he sprung into action. And the deer, seemingly unfazed, was pretty lackadaisical about the whole situation. And luckily, the gentleman knew the arrow needed to be removed to help prevent infection or further complications. The man calmly approached the deer, covering its eyes to keep it calm. I think deep down the deer must have known that the man was there to help, because he remained calm. The man was able to pull the arrow out relatively easily, but for precaution took him to a wildlife clinic where he could undergo further examination. The wildlife veterinarian said the arrow missed major organs and miraculously settled into a pretty benign place on the deer. He would be sore, but he was ultimately released back into the wild. Thank goodness for that Good Samaritan. In terms of physical strength, praying mantises are not particularly strong compared to other animals. But their strength is pretty impressive relative to their size and their hunting behavior. They are able to use their speed and agility to quickly grab and hold on to their prey, which is one of the things that makes them effective hunters. They are ambush predators. They wait and blend in with their surroundings to surprise their prey. And in this next clip, you're going to see that hunting in action. As you can see, the mantis is perched on the hummingbird feeder. The bird approaches and snatch. Unreal. Look at the mantis grab onto the beak of the bird and just not let it go. There's the relative strength we were talking about. The hummingbird tries to fly away, but the mantis just pulls him in. Mantises have a unique physical structure that enables the powerful muscles in their thorax and head to strike quickly and hold their prey. Safe to say we saw all of that in action. Just unreal camera footage. I didn't even know a mantis could handle a bird like that. Let me know in the comments if you've ever seen anything like this. I'll stop it here, but I'll link the full video in the description and it's worth the watch. I feel like coyotes are kind of like that annoying, mischievous second cousin that just can't do right. At least that's always how it seems when you compare the coyote and the wolf. The wolf is bigger and badder and more feared, and the coyote is just meh. Anyhow, this particular coyote is here to show everyone that he can do impressive things as well. As the video starts, you can see the coyote is interested in the tree, and if you look a little closer, you can see there's a dog bone tied or somehow attached to this tree, and he wants it. What he does next is very impressive. He scales right up that tree, keeping his eye on the prize. Now, I have seen videos of similar things, but I've never seen a wild coyote caught on a trail cam doing it. Now, I will say I have never once seen this, a coyote in a tree. I can't imagine walking out to work one morning and seeing this. A coyote eating berries out of my tree. I mean, what is going on here? Has anyone seen anything like this? I have so many questions. Why is he up there? How did he get up there? The lady filming sounds very calm about this, almost like it occurs daily. She even says, quote, "There's our coyote eating berries out of our tree." This situation does remind me that I have heard about fruit farmers removing old rotten fruit from or around trees because of what it might attract. But honestly, when I think of that, this isn't what comes to mind. Let me know in the comments if you have seen anything like this. This is pretty amazing. This next clip is just incredible. But first of all, before we watch this next outdoor camera capture, the parrots in this video, shot in Brazil, are wild. They are not pets. So just remember that. Anyhow, as the camera rolls, you can see one parrot just hanging out near this water source, and pretty quickly another arrives. But he doesn't stay for very long. Wow. A boa constrictor hidden in the water bowl snatched him right up. As we watch it again, knowing what we know, you can tell the first bird is a little apprehensive. He takes a little nip of water, but then pulls back. I wonder if he senses something is in that water. I suspect the snake was just lying in wait for something to breach the water's surface, and when that second bird lands, you can see his tail just dip into the water ever so slightly. That's all the snake needed. Just an incredible wildlife event to capture on camera. Our next clip is a viewer submission from Ricky M. Ricky lives in the panhandle of Florida in a town named Bristol, bordering the Apalachicola National Forest, he says. Ricky likes to hunt anything he can find. His words, not mine. In his area, he has a lot of wildlife. Deer, hogs, bears, panthers, gators, and even more. One evening, he and a buddy were checking Ricky's trail cameras. They were looking for a big gator that was suspected of taking a neighbor's dog, and Ricky knew just the camera to check. As the guy sifted through the footage, seeing the usual suspects, to his surprise, one of the cameras had captured an image of a strange creature. It was unlike any animal he had ever seen before. It had the body of a panther with the distinctive stripe pattern of a tiger, but also looked like it had the mane of an African lion. Ricky and his buddy were shocked. They knew what they were looking at wasn't native to that area. They had lived there their whole lives. He showed the pictures to the local wildlife officials, but they were just as puzzled as he was. They had never seen anything like it before. The picture created quite a firestorm locally, but still no one has been able to identify it. The creature has been dubbed the Tigon, a crossbreed between a tiger and a lion. I guess using liger was too mainstream. Anyhow, everyone and their brothers were buying trail cameras to try and catch another glimpse of the Tigon, but he has never been seen again. The mystery of how such a creature came to exist and why it was in the remote woods of Florida remains unsolved. It's all pretty crazy. Now, I'm sure most know it's impossible for two species of big cats to mate naturally, but it is possible for them to be crossbred in captivity through artificial insemination. I don't know. My personal thoughts are, if this happened anywhere outside the state of Florida, I'd be a little skeptical. But Florida is known for being a little wild in some places, especially with all of the exotic animals that are imported into that state, and then ultimately released when their owners can no longer provide for them. Maybe this is one of those. Nevertheless, I'm grateful for the submission, and let me know if you've seen anything like this creature before, or have any knowledge of big cats and crossbreeding. Our next few clips are a compilation from an awesome channel that gives us a really good glimpse inside nature. Now, I've seen bears using trees as back scratchers in the past, but this here is a great angle, and it really gives some perspective. Look at him. He's barely pushing against that tree, and it looks like if he gave it any force, it could uproot at any minute. I mean, I get it. There really is nothing better than a good, much-needed back scratch. This next clip in the compilation shows some beautiful foxes. And man, let me tell you, they do not look like this in the part of the United States that I'm from. These guys are a cool-looking silver and black with reddish underbellies. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these are gray foxes. Red foxes are most common around me. And as you can see, they're having a little fun on this rock bed. I'd like to know the backstory of this clip here. The deer is stopped, the coyote runs by, and then the deer chases. Are they buddies, or... The deer did look kinda annoyed when he passed the camera. Like I said, this channel has some beautiful trail camera footage. Check this elk herd hitting the water. It's phenomenal. Look at that backdrop. At first I thought they sensed a predator, and maybe they do, but this trail camera footage stays wholesome. Just a look into the beautiful wilderness. This next clip shows a nighttime battle of two bucks, most likely in rut. You see a buck tumble down a small embankment, then smash. Another buck antler butts him off the top. What a great capture.